Today is October 28th, and we've had quite a successful last couple of months out camping and just enjoying the hell out of this camper. This is the end of a 3-year journey. This story really begins like 6 years ago, 2018. At that time, I was traveling full-time in my 2004 Newmar Dutch Star, I affectionately called Rusty, towing my 2014 Subaru Crosstrek named Dusty, because he was always dusty and Rusty was really rusty when I got it. Over the 12 years I owned it, I put quite a few miles on it, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. But back to 2018, I was imagining myself with a much smaller outfit. I figured I was going to only have a certain amount of time before I had to sell the RV and buy a house. You see me standing in front of it here. Because I have a disabled brother, and eventually my parents were going to pass away and he was going to have to come live with me. So I knew I had a limited amount of time to live full-time in my Class A, and I enjoyed every minute of it. The pandemic probably accelerated my decision a little bit to get a house. I knew I was still going to want to camp, and I imagined myself in a truck camper. In fact, I think it was probably about that time, maybe a little later than that, I started watching a gal named Catherine Gregory, who has a YouTube channel, and she was living in a camper full-time at that time. Now, I had no intention to live in a camper. I was too spoiled. I love my Class A. But I did have it in my mind I wanted to do more excursion-type camping, go out for 2 or 3 or 4 days, or maybe a week or two, and then come back and have a home base. So when I bought the house, I really started looking for a truck camper, and they were all really expensive. But at the time, during the pandemic, every RV just got overpriced. There weren't enough on the market. Everybody wanted their own RV. They didn't want to travel in hotel rooms and airplanes and that kind of stuff. So the RV market went crazy. The matter of fact is I sold my Class A for more than I paid for it after I had it for 12 years. Anyway, that's a whole nother story for another video. The crux of this story is that really since 2018, I had been wanting a truck camper set up like I've got right now. A friend of mine turned me on to an auction website where they do estate auctions, other things, but estate auction is where I got this. A side note, estate auctions really make you step back and take inventory of your life. But again, that's another story for another video. But I did find this camper. Initially, I wasn't going to buy it, but I was watching the auction, and it just wasn't getting up there high enough. And so I decided to go ahead and pull the trigger on it. So I brought this home just about 3 years ago today, and I initially started taking a look at it in the front yard here, or in the driveway, I should say. And I took the front apart, and it was obvious it was in really bad shape. It was really rotten, had a lot of water damage. Well, it's pretty rotten. You can see here that it's been holding water, sitting on this tin here. This here is still wet. I mean, this is just dripping wet. And so I moved it to the backyard and I started pulling the skin off to get a better idea of what it was about. And that led to a nearly 3-year renovation project. Now all in, you know, basically November to March or April, you can't really work outside here in Idaho, and I was working outside. So that limited the amount of time I could put into it. But I got there, and this is the result. I'll take you on a quick walk around. Let's go look at things. It's kind of dirty because I've been camping in it for the last 8 weeks, as much as I possibly can. The outside turned out extremely well. I'm just so happy with the way everything turned out. You know, I had a little problem with the paint here. We'll take care of that in the spring. But the doors are all nice and firm, you know. I mean, that one I think I need to fix the weather stripping on. But everything turned out really well. I haven't noticed any water leaks of any sort. Now we'll go inside for a real quick look. Notice I'm getting ready to winterize because I think I made my last trip in it. Well, we'll usually get a couple of nice days in November, and I might take it out. Let's get some lights on it here. Okay, so basically, like I said, you'll have to excuse the mess, but it turned out really well. I'm really happy with the way it's working. You know, everything's working good. I will say the stove is a little underpowered. The microwave I'm going to replace. I've got a replacement identified. You might remember in a past video I said I needed a clock. Well, I found that one at a thrift store for $2.99. And of course that's my temperature monitoring. The fridge is still running 31. It's been running on electric, and so water heater controls, the lighting control, closets are all lit. I did make a mistake and left the closet open and basically really drew the batteries down. There's the pantry. The bathroom turned out really well. I'm really happy with it. The lights are good, the fan works really good. I basically just started throwing everything in the sink to keep it from moving around. Some things that need to be fixed. The screws came out of that hinge. But overall inside, I mean, I'm really happy with the way everything has turned out. That's my shunt. The battery monitor basically shows I'm at 197 amp hours, almost 100%. I did put this M1 in. I kind of had to, I was having trouble knowing whether or not the damn solar was working properly. So you see right here, I'm actually pulling in 15 watts, even though it's quite overcast today. This is the M1 system. I hadn't intended to install it. It's a long story how I ended up with it, but I did. So at least I can monitor that. I might install that this spring or over the winter, we'll see. And I'll talk to you more about it then. You know, you've seen all that. It turned out really good. I'm really happy with it. I put this up for my fishing rods. I got a couple of them out, but it's just a fishing rod holder. Keeps it up and out of the way. And then I just put this piece of Velcro up here on the screw, and I just wrap the butts like that, and it keeps them secure so they don't fall out of that. See how much we're pulling 26 amps because I got the fridge on. I'm going to just turn it off, and now we're down to 1 amp. So is it perfect? No. As with all restorations, you're going to go through a learning curve. You're going to figure out some things you probably didn't do right, and I have a couple of those. One of them is I built it too tight. These RVs, they flex as they go down the road, and I mean, I've got every seam waterproof, damn sure. But what that's done is that this urethane that I put on all the seams is also acting like an adhesive, and it's holding things in place. It's causing some stress fractures. I have one bad one over here by the fridge. That piece of siding was already damaged because that's where the old batteries were, so there was battery acid that leaked out and it destroyed that. So I'll have to fix that, but I'll do that next spring. I was going into one of my favorite fishing holes and I hit a low bridge and I busted both of my antennas. I'll show you here. Climb up here and show you what happened. You see, that one actually hung on. That's the cell booster, but the TV antenna, not so much. I'll just give you a quick tour of the roof there. 500 watts of solar. It's a little dirty right now. About a year ago, I set up a Facebook group for S&S truck campers. So if you're interested in that, go over to Facebook, search for S&S truck campers. It's open. You can join it. There's no requirement to even own one. But you're welcome to come over there. We've got a little community building now. I think we're up to 17 or 18 members. And some people have been contributing some stuff to the Facebook group, so come over and check that out. As this project was winding down, I found myself a little melancholy. Kind of dragging my feet on a few things, mostly recording videos and getting them out. But in my defense, I have spent every moment I possibly can out camping, and I have some footage on that, and I'll be sharing those videos down the road a ways. I kind of dragged my feet on some things I really didn't want to get done because in reality I don't have another project picked out yet. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But yeah, this has been what I've done for the last 2.5, 3 years, and I've enjoyed every moment of it, almost. I mean, you know, there was the real doldrums when I was really getting into the rot and discovering how rotten it was. And yeah, I mean, you know, the thought crossed my mind to throw a can of gas on it and watch it go up in flames. But I've always had a project going on. I mean, I've always had something going on for as long as I can remember. I probably won't be making a lot of videos. I've got 3 or 4 that you'll probably see between now and the end of the year. But I got a couple projects that I'm looking at. I haven't quite decided on what I'm going to do, and I'd like your feedback. You know, if there's something you'd like to see me do a project on. You know, I'm back on the auction website. I'm looking for something maybe like a camper. You know, if I could find an old teardrop or something like that. The other thing is on another YouTube channel I watch, Zyla Foxland. She built a camper, a teardrop camper. It's all CNC'd and all this fancy shit, and I don't have any of that equipment, but I bet you I can build one of those. And so you might be doing something like that, building a camper from scratch, a trailer I should say, or maybe a teardrop or something small that I can tow. But I'd be interested to know what you thought. Leave me a comment. In fact, I'm kind of burnt out on YouTube in general, so I think you're going to see me take a 3 or 4 month hiatus. It's very likely I'm going to go back to my roots, my YouTube roots, and go back to camping and traveling and showing you the wonderful country I live here in Idaho and Wyoming and Montana and Utah and, you know, the country surrounding here, you know, stuff that you can go to and explore in 2 or 3 days and enjoy. And the number of places I can go is greatly expanded because I have a smaller travel companion. I think that's probably what you're going to see happen is I'll go back to the travel vlogging, probably some fishing, a little bit of photography, who knows, stick around, you'll see. So before we close this out, to all my viewers who've watched every video, every minute, the 300 or 400 of you that have stuck with me for the last 3 years as we've worked on this, I could say more, but let's just leave it at thank you. Stick around. As always with this channel, I know how to kill it. I've done it many times, and I'll probably kill again when I go back to traveling, but stick around, I appreciate you. It's time to put this thing to bed for winter. That'll be our next video. Getting her winterized, getting off the truck. I did buy a cover, so we'll be getting it covered up, but I got to get it moved to the backyard and get it winterized, and that's next. But for now, it's time to go. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. Till we get together for the next whatever it is. Peace.